So we have mics on the floor. We have 2 in the wings, and then we also have 2 in the loge and the balcony. It is the strong tradition of the Kennedy School Forum that we have open and respectful, publicly oriented dialogue. And so His Excellency has very generously agreed to respond to questions for about 20 minutes. I'll take them from all sides. Please introduce yourself. Please ask only one question, and please ensure that it is a short question-oriented question. I think without further ado, we'll begin on the right-hand side. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, His Excellency Nana, for that wonderful Pan-African speech. I'm very sure beyond doubt that our great ancestors, Kwame Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela Madiba, Milka Kabro, are very, positive about what you've talked about. My name is Seguya Hilary Innocent Taylor. I am a Ugandan, and I'm doing my master's in international relations here at Harvard. I wish we could, exchange you for our Ugandan president, dictator General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who has been in power for 33 years. Because we are telling him enough is enough. He has to go.
Do you have a question?
Now to the question.
Yes. Please ask it quickly.
I'm going to be precise. As an advocate of education, I believe in the right to education because it's a basic human right that each and every child deserves.
Can I use that?
His Excellency Nana, you have talked about the cocoa production in Ghana, and you are saying that $100 billion is worth of that sector in this country. But again, Ghana has only 6% of that value chain of cocoa bean production. And we are looking at, challenges of children being put in, these cocoa production, plantations. Children as young as the age of 7. They are being denied the right to education. And for the consumers in countries like USA, Canada, Switzerland, they are enjoying this sweet dark chocolate, but they can't tell the story behind this chocolate. So what initiatives or policies do you have in your government, and also perhaps other African countries, as an umbrella through the African Union, to ensure that we have fair, policies to the consumer, and also to the farmers, and also to the companies that are engaged in the cocoa production? Thank you so much.
Thank you. You may respond,
okay. Yeah. Child labor in the cocoa industry. This is something that has been highlighted for some time. And a lot of measures have been taken in Ghana to reduce its incidence considerably. I think it is much less of an issue now than it was, let's say, 10 years ago. Secondly, there's still elements of it there, largely because the culture of young people helping parents and families on the cocoa farm is something that is still very persistent. But it's important to remember that many, and there are some here who have gone through that experience, do it at the same time as go to school. They help out in the holidays and go to school in normal times. That's also a feature of this industry. But the focus on reducing its incidence is very strong, and it is working. I believe that any of the studies that are going around the world today, when they look at what is happening in the industry, both in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, will agree that its incidence has diminished considerably. Secondly, we have taken the view that there's very little we can do about getting our policies right in trying to scale up the value chain and receiving more and more value from the product. Can't be done in isolation. So that the Cote d'Ivoire government and our government are today working very closely in determining policy, in determining the price at which our farmers go into the market, and also determining policies as to how much of the product will be processed locally as against being sold in the raw form. And already it is having an impact on the way that the market is evolving. I think it's very important. Somehow or other, the farming populations of our two countries have benefited from the fact that Alassane Ouattara and I are in office at the same time and have very much the same common understanding of what we need to do. We signed what we call even a strategic partnership between Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana, which revolves around coordinating a strategic attitude and policies towards the development of the industry. There are new markets, for instance, that have not been brought into play. We're talking about 3 or 4 billion people in Asia, 1.4 billion in China, 1.3 billion in India, and the rest of who have not been particularly exposed to the product. So there's an aggressive joint marketing drive that is taking place there. But the fundamental thing is that we develop our capacity to build the industry, the entire value chain at home. And that is what we're launched on and are doing now. The warehouses for storing the product instead of sending it abroad are now being created. The African Development Bank has lent its support to this activity on both countries. So there's a whole stream of things that are being done, the purpose of which is to scale up the value that we receive from the industry, and thereby, of course, increase the earnings of our cocoa farmers. Ghana, for instance, for over 100 years, has depended almost exclusively on the toil of our cocoa farmers. But that at long last, that there will be policies in place that will enable them to get more and more value from their work. So these are some of the things that are being done. There are others, other technical decisions that have been taken about getting a cocoa yield, a cocoa seed that produces a much quicker output than we've seen in the past. And increasing also the education of those who are going into the industry. So it isn't just with respect illiterate farmers who are doing it, but now increasingly more and more educated young people are also going to. It's a whole gamut of things that we have to look at to be able to make something out of this industry for ourselves. But the present arrangement is clearly intolerable. It's unfair, it's exploitative, and I think that we have to work to bring that to an end.
Thank you. I think this notion of leveraging African cooperation instead of competition has historically been so important. So I'm glad we can hear it here.